Hey everyone, so I thought I would do a little bit of a new recurring topic that I'm going to do towards the start of each patch, but I'm going to call this Boilon's Goals, I guess, for patch 5.6. Yeah, terrible title. So I want to go and do a bit of a roster review of my own on myself, but basically kind of walk myself through with you all, what I plan to do for most of this patch with regards to my roster, what I still have to work on, and what basically I plan to do for the next month or so until we get closer to the next patch. I personally like to make these kind of goals towards the start of the patch, that way I have an idea of what I want to do, but also what I'm going to be paying attention to, and gearing and other considerations, I guess, as we inch towards level 85, future content such as Doom Raid 2 and Dark Dimension 5. So that's the plan for this video. Hopefully you'll come along on this journey with me, and without further ado, let's get this show started. So we're gonna start things off at the top of my roster here, and of course, the characters with the hearts. These are the characters that I am currently considering working on. I say consider because I am, but I just don't know how fast I am necessarily doing so. Now, Maria Hill and Sharon Carter, to get things started off of here, this is, obviously a work in progress from last patch. They're level 80, and I got them 664. I haven't really invested any T4s yet, mostly because where I'm at in Doom Raid for skill, I don't really think that I need to gear them up. I'm not doing Doom 1.1 with my alliance, so I'm pretty stable with where I am at. Now, where I could see people wanting to use these characters more, and this is going to be dependent on your state of the game. The Secret Avengers, I think, are very, very good characters for, say, Dark Dimension 3 and 4 Global. So if this is a priority for you, I would definitely see taking these characters up over someone like Sinister and Emma Frost now, because I think they might have a little bit less use given the state of the game. So Sharon Carter, very similar to Maria Hill. They're both there for the exact same reason, because aside from Cap Sam, who I felt was the best character of the patch and was worth bringing up for sure, Sharon Carter and Maria Hill I've just kind of been doing on the side as a part-time project here. Both kind of in the same position, level 80, 6664, gear tier 13. Part of the reason why I didn't make the jump to 14 is mostly because I wanted to make sure that this patch's characters didn't have overlapping uniques. So when I get towards the last week or two of the patch, I kind of want to ease back, don't gear anyone important, 14 or 15. What if the uniques that are required for the new characters are uniques from characters that I'm already working on? So that was what I was concerned about. So I didn't up, and good thing I did that, because Kitty Pryde shares the same superior miasma as Deathpool and Cloak, so I was considering gear 14ing them, and I'm so glad that I didn't, because now I have more miasma, and if I didn't, I would have been absolutely broke. So again, another reason why I do that. I think I'll probably bring them up to 14. I don't really have a whole lot of plans to build Shang-Chi this patch, so I think if I have enough skill gear here, which I think I might, I will consider the 14. I don't know if I need the 15 though. We're not at Doom Raid 2 yet, so I suspect that I probably will be using these characters going forward into Doom Raid 2, because that's what they're really designed for, but we're not there yet, so I'll be doing it slowly over the course of this patch. I'm not probably going to be taking them to 15 by the end of the patch, but I'll eventually hit this button at some point and get them to 14. It's just the hearts there as a reminder as to what I still need to do. So moving on from that, X Factor. Again, this is pretty obvious, but I haven't actually put in more work than I needed to. So Multiple Man and Polaris are both at 68. That's because Adam Warlock I have at 5-star. So if you are, for unlocking Adam Warlock at 5-star, you need level 65, gear tier 12, 6664. Actually, I think you don't need 6664, but you should. And level 3 green ISO. So moving forward into 6-star Adam Warlock, you need gear tier 13, level 4 ISOs, and then 7-star Adam Warlock is gear tier 14. Level 5 green ISO and level 75, right? So, or level 80, sorry, yeah, right? 75. No, God, I'm getting myself mixed up. Yeah, tier 14. Sorry, gear tier 14 is level 75. I cut the level cap increases screwed me around. So my plan is that I'm most likely going to be getting Adam Warlock to 6-star, not 7-star. So I will need to raise both Polaris and Multiple Man to level 70, gear tier 13. And I guess get an extra Raider level on Polaris here, because she's at 3 and she needs 4. So that's my plan for that. They're already, the Dad Bros and Jubilee, they're already level tier 14 and they've got all their stuff anyway, so it's just multiple man and Polaris I haven't really put a lot of investment into because they are primarily war offense characters. War characters in general, you guys know that I don't really put a ton of stock into it, so why is She-Hulk on this list? I have no idea, actually. But I don't know, I was like, I heard that they're pretty good. As far as war defense goes, I heard they're not bad. But I heard that you do need to put a decent chunk of amount of investment into them to make it worthwhile. I heard that She-Hulk is actually pretty strong, and I've gone up against She-Hulks that are pretty strong in the war defense. The problem is that I only have 4 red stars, so I'm not sure how much of an impact this is actually going to make. Even if I were to gear her to, like, 14. I don't know if this is actually going to make a huge difference. Now, to get to 14, of course, I would need, what, level 75, right? So, oh, God. 5 million gold just for that, and everything else in the gear. This is probably at least a 7 million gold investment just to throw her on the war defense for Invisible Woman. With Invisible Woman and the Fantastic Four. My Fantastic Four are mostly gear 12. My Invisible Woman's actually 15. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments down below, guys. What do you guys think about Fantastic Four, She-Hulk as a war defense team? I could maybe use an extra team, but it's just like, I feel like, why bother? If I'm going to invest in a war defense team, I might as well do Heroes for Hire and push them a bit higher for the same amount of gold investment. I just don't know. Let me know. I'm on the fence about this one. And so obviously, since we're in the new patch, I do always heart the new characters just to see, you know, eventually when we figure out how they're going to be unlocked, things like that. And I just like staring at them clearly. And yeah, so that's what's going on there. Shang-Chi, again, we talked about Heroes for Hire. So I think in terms of my investment for these characters, I think it's going to be Deathpool first, probably Cloak and Dagger after that, and then Shang-Chi fourth. So Shang-Chi is probably going to get the Maria Hill and Sharon Carter treatment, maybe even less. Probably, actually, you know what? Cloak and Dagger are probably going to get the Maria and Sharon Carter treatment, and then Shang-Chi is going to get like 65 gear tier 12, and I'm going to leave him there until I decide to do something more or not. So that's my plans for that. For other characters, you know, I have quite a decent list of characters, but in terms of ones that I haven't geared up to 15 yet, I think that's where I need to look at to see if there's anyone else worth taking up. So, going that extra mile, that's kind of the more important one. We have Shuri now. I'm using her currently in Doomray Tech, and she is 7 red. I did pull a 7 red for her on Adam Warlock's red star pulls, I believe. But I have a feeling that tech characters are going to be coming down the line in the next patch, so I don't think I'm going to go beyond this. I am able to clear what I need to clear in Doom Raid 1 with this setup with her, so that's fine. Other characters on the list, you know, I'm actually in a fairly decent position. I think that I don't... Kitty Pryde, you know, I need to rehard her again. So, again, the problem why this was miasma, right? I explained the miasma problem, and now that we know that Cloak and Deathpool are miasma, this is just not... this is a very low priority for me, and probably not going to happen until I get way more miasma. Speaking of which, they need to give us tier 13 farmables. Please! Please give us a way to do that, because we need it. Oh, Lord. Okay, so on that same vein, where's Iceman? I kind of want to take him to gear tier 15. The Astral Energy is pretty free from what I understand. I don't really have any other characters that need that. So the only problem there, I guess, is all of the mutant gear that I would need to shove into him to get that done. It would improve his survivability a little bit more. I think going into Doom Raid 2, definitely this is going to have to happen. And Kitty Pryde to 14 is definitely going to have to happen as well. So this is kind of... I know I'm going to have to do this, it's just when am I going to do it is the question. So I want to be ready and having my characters up as high as I can for Doom Raid 2 when we eventually get there. I don't think Astonishing X-Men is going to get deleted. I don't think they're going to get replaced this time. I don't see that happening until later on next year, because realistically a lot of these teams do last for at least a year, especially when they're raid teams. Symbiotes lasted for quite a while anyways. That's a completely different conversation though. I don't think there's anyone in my roster that I particularly need to raise though. You know, I'm doing pretty well with in terms of characters that I think are going to be useful. There are a few that I'm not sure what's going to happen to them in the future. I think we're going to have a tech patch coming up soon. Question is, I'm looking, you know, I'm eyeing Vision for one, and I'm eyeing Scientist Supreme. secondly. And the only reason for this is that I'm wondering, A, are we going to get MODOK? B, are we going to get any reworks in relation to Vision, where Vision actually has a lot of text? So that could be increasingly important later on. If he gets touched on at all, I'm not sure. A Vision and Ultron rework together, or some way that would make Vision viable with Ultron, or more viable, this would be really interesting, but I don't know if any of that's going to happen. That being said, I do have some decent red stars, so if it did happen, great, you know, I can put it into them later. But otherwise, I don't know. You know, I'm trying to prepare in advance for things like Doom Raid 2, making sure that I have my raid team as high as I possibly can, you know, at the moment. There isn't anyone in my roster, I would say, that really needs to be raised. These are kind of the characters that are not really, you know, Heroes for Hire, actually, my Misty Knight, you know, I just haven't put a lot of resources into the Heroes for Hire because I just don't think it's a good use for it right now, but yeah, I think I'm sitting in a decent position. So origin-wise, yeah, I mean, I could get to gear tier 15 on some characters that I don't already. Most of my characters do, though, the ones that I am currently using. So I am, you know, pretty happy with the state of my roster, I guess you could say. There's some characters that going into gear tier 16, you know, I'm definitely not going to be using, and that's going to be characters, you know, these are what I call the sunk cost fallacies that I'm going to be leaving at 15, not taking to 16 later on for Dark Dimension or otherwise. You know, there's always these mistakes that I made in my roster, and particularly, I want to point out some of these mistakes really quickly, is, I'm not sure if Punisher's a mistake or not. I thought it was at first, but I did end up using him a fair bit with Skilletary, so at least he had a use. I'll tell you my biggest mistake in my roster. Where is he? Sabretooth. So I gear tiered 15 Sabretooth because he was cheap and because that helped me get into Dark Dimension 4 Global quicker. Now, I did end up clearing with basically 3 characters, but Sabretooth was not very helpful. It was a means to an end, and I will not be taking him to gear tier 16 no matter what the cost. So that is also a warning and a caution to you guys. Don't gear characters that you think you need for something when you probably don't, and that resources could be used better elsewhere. So, yeah, I guess this wasn't a huge ton of a roster review. Hopefully I didn't waste your guys' time. And maybe this gave you guys an idea of what I currently have leveled up. I don't have a lot of plans, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. ISOs. That's probably my next step, but we don't really know enough about what's coming with Doom Raid 2, what the minimum requirements are going to be for that, and whether or not Dark Dimension 5 is going to have a blue ISO requirement component as well. So, yeah, we don't have a lot of that right now, and we don't have the information on that, but in the meantime, I am hoarding up a lot of gold, as you can see here, just for the level cap increases, because there's a lot of characters that I'm going to need to raise, my Arena team and some of my Doom Raid teams that I know are going to stick. So, that's what I would recommend to you guys. Save your gold, make a plan, and understand who you need to level up and who you need to gear and who you don't for some of your goals that you have over the next 6 weeks. So hopefully some of this helped, maybe it didn't, but anyways, you got to check out my roster. So until next time, guys, stay safe, and I'll see you all later, and stay healthy, of course. Boilon signing out.